Hey everybody, Chad Wesley Smith here for Juggernaut Training Systems, bringing you part 4 in our bench pillars series. We've already addressed foot position and pressure, upper back tension, as well as grip width and hand position, wrist position, and where the bar goes in your hand. Now we're going to talk about your breathing during the bench press, where you want the bar to touch on your chest, and how to maximize your position with the bar on your chest. So, a lot of this is going to relate to our last video on grip width, so make sure you watch the previous pillars as you work up to this one. So as Marissa takes her grip, causing what we want to achieve again is that the bar is stacked over her wrist is stacked over the elbow with the bar on her chest. Achieving that position is also going to involve where she touches on her chest, how high or how low, as well as elbow flare versus tuck. So you can see here, Marissa touches a bit higher on the chest. Her elbows are fairly flared. She has a pretty long history of bodybuilding style benching, so this is the strongest position for her. More elbow flare is going to involve a bit more pec and shoulder, where more elbow tuck would be a bit more dominant in the triceps. You need to kind of find out what is more effective for you, but the main thing is going to be to achieve this bar stacked over wrist over elbow position. So if Marissa maybe had a bit closer grip, for her to still achieve this position, it would require her to touch a bit lower and for her to tuck her elbows more. And I'd say it would be rare to have someone who has more elbow flare in the bench than Marissa, but if we did have someone with a very, very wide grip, like a max legal grip, for her to achieve that bar over wrist over elbow position, she would need to touch very high on her chest. So you can sort of play around with the different grip widths, with the different touch points, and find what feels most comfortable and strongest to you. But again, the sort of general rule of thumb there is wider hands, higher touch, more elbow flare, closer hands, lower touch, more elbow tuck. So now that you found your optimal touch point, now we want to see how you can maximize your position and your leverage with the bar on your chest. And this is going to be about both your breathing and in doing that, keeping your chest as high as possible throughout the lift. In the setup video, upper back position video, pillar number 2, we talked about feeling pressure in your traps. And those are going to be tied together a lot, feeling the pressure in your traps and keeping your chest high. So as Marissa sets up, she uses the rack to get up on her traps, glute bridges, feels the pressure in her traps, walks her feet down while maintaining that pressure, whole foot pressure, knee below hip. Before she begins to bring the bar down, we're going to take big air in, lock the lats in, lock the upper back position in, and as she brings the bar down, we're trying to reach up to the bar with her chest. A very common problem we'll see is that as the athlete brings the bar down, their chest begins to collapse and they lose tension and they lose some of that upper back position. And oftentimes that is linked with the head. It's become a very common practice for athletes to lift their head off the bench, and unless you're very, very mindful of it, as the head comes up, the chest will often come down and the chest will sort of retreat from the bar. And that can cause a loss of upper back positioning. It can cause a loss of tension. It's also going to cause you to have to move the bar a further distance. Now, it doesn't have to be that way. You can bring your head up slightly and still maintain that good upper back position and still keep the chest high. But when you're doing it, you just have to be very, very mindful of that. As you take that kind of little sneak peek to see where the bar is, that you're really thinking about keeping the chest high. A lot of that bringing the head up is sort of a holdover from geared benching technique, because one, you probably needed to see how far the bar was away from your chest, as well as maybe alleviating some of the tension in the shirt to actually be able to touch your chest. I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you're probably a raw bench presser, so you shouldn't need to lift your head for those reasons. So if it's more comfortable to you or whatever, go ahead and do it. Just be mindful of keeping your chest as high as possible throughout the lift. Again, about the breathing, as Marissa brings the bar out, She takes big air in before the descent, keeps the chest high, keeps that air in, presses, and holds her air until she's back at the top of the lift. If it's a lighter set and you can move the bar pretty quickly, it would be fine for you to do multiple reps within the same breath. But what we definitely don't want is Marissa to take a big air in and then either breathe out with the bar on her chest or breathe out as she presses. When you're pressing, same idea for squatting. When you're breathing out, you're relaxing, and you don't want to be relaxing as you're exerting force on the bar. All right, so this was our fourth pillar. In this video, we addressed where the bar should touch on your chest, how to maximize tension with your breathing, and how to focus on keeping the chest as high as possible for that optimal pressing position. Make sure you check out the previous parts in this series on foot pressure, upper back position, and grip width, and look for part number 5 coming out next week, and subscribe to the channel.
Get expert program design, video analysis, and guidance for powerlifting and weightlifting, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced athlete, through Team Juggernaut's online coaching. Click Learn More to sign up.